Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.
Okay. Welcome to Leadership Live at 8:05. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, and thanks for coming back and hanging out with me once again on Tuesday evening. Each week we have a great guest, and we really talk about a key topic that can help you be a better leader and create a more successful business or organization for you. Because at the end of the day, your business can only go as far as you're prepared to take it. So, the key is continuing to learn, develop your leadership skills, gain perspective. And the best way to do that is learn from other leaders, learn what they've done, what's made them successful, and how you can apply it to your specific situation. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about coaching and AI. AI is really taking over in a big way. Hopefully you're learning about it and using it because it's a powerful tool for your business. But also coaching is very important and very valuable for business owners to help you learn and develop. And, there's a movement towards AI-centered coaching. And, what's the promise of that? Is that, what's that? What could that be? How could that be helpful? But also, what's the peril? What's the risk? And then also, is it a partnership thing? Is it a quasi, partnership between AI and actual virtual and in-person coaching? So we're going to discuss these and many other things tonight. Excited about having my guest, Arthur Jones. He's joining us from out west in Arizona. And, those of you who have been with us a long time probably know that, he was actually my co-host when we started the show. And, he's continuing to do great things and always love chatting with him. He always shares valuable insights. So let me bring him on real quick. Hey, Art, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. Always happy to be here at Leadership Live at 8:05. It's deja vu all over again.
Yes. So, I always ask the guests to sort of introduce themselves. So I'll have you do that as well. Some of the people may know you, but probably a lot of them don't. So
Okay.
You could take a minute to kind of let people know who you are.
Okay, that's good. I'm a product of New Jersey, first and foremost. Rutgers University. Spent time there before I moved out west to California, where I joined one of the legacy companies of the last century. I guess that justifies my gray beard. I worked at Xerox Corporation a long time. Never sold copiers. Always sold technology. Some of the technologies we know and love today: mice, icons on screens, networks, etc. And that skill of selling high-end technology started as a young cub salesperson selling things for $15,000. It ended up selling things for $500,000 and $1 million. And when you're selling at that level, you're no longer selling. You're actually spending a lot of time seeking to understand what the customer needs and helping them understand that their needs and the product that I had were a match. They end up saying, Arthur, we've talked for 4 months about our problems and challenges that we've had, and you've told us that you have solutions that solve those problems, but you haven't told us how long it will take to implement and what it's going to cost. They've essentially sold themselves. That's because open-ended questions are the stock and trade of high-end sales and of coaching. So for years after leaving corporate, people would say, Arthur, you should be a coach. And I would say, I'm a consultant. Why would I be a coach? But they were seeing in me something I didn't really acknowledge in myself. So I have honed the skill of understanding my clients at a deep level, knowing what questions to ask, always questions that can't be answered with a yes or a no, that allow them to do all of the talking. And Andrew and I were just joking. He said, Art, I wouldn't have invited you back onto the show if I didn't think that you could fill an hour up with ideas. But in coaching and in sales, it's not the salesperson's ideas or the coach's ideas. It's the salesperson or coach's questions that elicit the conversation to start evolving in the mind of the client or the prospective customer. So that's kind of where I've come from, how I got to where I am. Today, I'm the founder of a platform that I like to call the Narrative Intelligence Studio, which uses stories to solve a lot of problems. Humans are wired for story. We think, we problem solve, we even dream in stories. So I use stories as a Swiss Army knife. I want to know my customer's story. I want to know their narrative so well that I almost know it as well as they do. Then I'll know what questions to ask to get them to fill in the blanks of my knowledge about them. Then I can help them as a coach, or I can help them solve problems as a consultant. That's me. I'm Art Jones. I'm the founder of The Art of Standing Out, where we use the Narrative Intelligence Studio to help our clients accomplish more. That's
Great.
it.
Okay. No, definitely. Definitely you've been doing this for a long time, just like I have. And I think you said that, I mentioned that you could make it an hour, but it was really at least an hour because
Andrew and I have had lengthy conversations. We agree on many things, but when we don't agree, we make space for the others to share their ideas and respect those ideas. And I think that's where respect is I call respect is the gateway to trust. And there's an acronym that I've invented for that, Andrew. I don't know if I've shared this with you. It's a leadership acronym for leaders. And I think that we're all leaders, whether somebody's giving you the title or you just embrace the skill sets of a leader to manage yourself or your business. The acronym is SURE-T. It's SHUR-T.
Mm-hmm.
You want the people, whoever they are, that you're engaged with, when they're engaged with you, to feel seen. The H is heard. The U is understood, SHU. And the R, when you help somebody feel seen, heard, and understood, you've earned their respect because you're holding space for them to feel seen, heard, and understood. And with that respect that you've earned, that's reciprocity. You show respect, you're going to get respect. And respect is the gateway to trust. And with trust, all things are possible.
Mm-hmm.
SURE-T.
SURE-T.
SHUR-T.
Okay,
and
so sure gets you to trust, and trust
sure gets you to respect. Respect earns the trust.
Okay, sure gets.
There we
go. Okay, and that's one of your 3 favorite words.
Yeah. I've got another one, and I think this one is born out of. The genesis of this might be back in the day when I was co-hosting with you and we were talking about leadership every Tuesday at 8:05. And the other acronym is ROAR,
Okay.
Think of Mustafa on the cliff with the baby. It's not like the Lion King exactly, but it is, the acronym is ROAR, and it spells ROAR. And when you do sure-t, sure or shirt, then you are actually roaring with the people you're engaged with, because you're getting return on authentic relationships.
Okay. Okay.
So we want to build authentic relationships, and reciprocity is a big thing, I think, and we're wired for reciprocity. If I do something nice for you, reciprocity kicks in. It's a human trait. You'll do something nice for me at some point in time. And when we are building and helping people feel seen, heard, understood, and respected to earn their trust, that's when you really end up with authentic relationships. And as a leader or just a good human, those are the best kind of relationships to have.
Okay. Excellent. So I know back in the day, one of your favorite initials was KLT, which is really the cornerstone of what marketing is all about.
Absolutely. And the KLT is the know, like, and trust. And I think this notion of sure-t and roar is just the evolution of KLT. But if you take any one of those three things and you do it well, you and your business will be fine. You don't need to do all three of them. Just pick one. Build authentic relationships. Make people feel seen, heard, and respected, so you earn their trust. Or just be known. Put yourself out there. Be a good human, so you're liked. And people will trust you. KLT.
Definitely. So excellent. So we got a lot of great people in the audience. So we've got some good comments, some good questions. Definitely, if you're out in the audience, we appreciate your participating. Definitely give us a shout out of where you're coming from. So we got Miss Peril from Peril Worldwide in Beverly Hills, California. How about
Cali? Yeah. LA Dodgers. Whoop whoop.
So definitely. So Art, this topic about coaching, you talked about how people saw you as a coach before you saw yourself as a coach. You mentioned a little bit about coaching, but what makes a good coach?
That's really a thoughtful question. And I think one, you have to think deeply and want to serve other people. Coaching is not about you. Coaching is about the person you're in service to. And Yvonne Burton, all the way from Osaka, Japan. Hello, Yvonne. And coaching is about holding space for that other person. Coaching, I'll say it this way. I'll talk a little bit about AI coaching, because AI coaching has emerged as something that's as capable to coach as we humans are. It's hard to imagine, but everybody's played with ChatGPT or one of these platforms enough to be amazed at how cogent it seems. It's just a machine, but it does seem cogent. And it can answer questions about our life experiences. The thing that AI doesn't have is the thing, Andrew, the things I think that are most important for someone that's going to coach to use in their coaching practice. And that's to be in touch with their own lived experience. What I mean by that is that AI is coaching alongside us now, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, but it doesn't have empathy. It can fake it, but it doesn't have empathy. And when you're in a coaching scenario and somebody says, well, Art, that question really triggers something in me, and it makes me want to go back and I want to talk about when I was in elementary school when my house burned down. And your sense of empathy makes you put yourself in that person's shoes in that moment, being vulnerable, sharing with you that story of their house burning down, their family in chaos. And you're gonna hold space for that conversation to evolve and happen for that client, because they want now to get it out. Making space for that vulnerability exercises your deep well of empathy. Without empathy, you might recoil and say, whoa, your house burned down. As a coach, you can't do that, right? And because we all have lived experience, we know how it feels when you're wanting to be vulnerable and somebody recoils from your vulnerability, you shut down. So you maintain ethical boundaries, you hold space for all conversations that the client wants to have. You commit your coachee, the person you're coaching, to certain standards. You're going to show up for them. So you're going to have a contract or a conversation before you begin working together that they're going to be accountable and show up in a responsible way to be coached. And as a coach, it's your responsibility to let them know the ground rules. I'm showing up for you, then you're going to have to show up for yourself. But that means you have to bring your whole self to every coaching situation so we can help you with the transformation that you seek. I think there's more, but lived experience, empathy, compassion, and knowledge and awareness that you're not asking questions that coachee can answer with a yes or a no. You're asking open-ended questions, so they do all the talking, and you're helping them talk themselves through whatever challenge that they're trying to turn into an opportunity.
Okay. So, definitely, there's some nuances to coaching, and, you mentioned empathy, little bit of creativity. So, when it comes to AI, it's taken over a lot of things. Some people think it's amazing. Some people think it's good, but not accurate at many times. Some people think it's going to take over the world and will be like Terminator or something. What is your take on that? And, where do you think this is going?
Well, I'm part of the International Coach Federation and have been for the last 5 years. When I finally gave in and became a coach, got certified as a coach, I'll say it that way, by the International Coach Federation. In the International Coach Federation, there are 3 levels of coaching. You get 60 hours of training to then practice for 100 hours, and you can become an associate certified coach. That's 160 total hours of coach training, 60, coach practice, 100. The next level is the professional certified coach. That's 500 hours. And then the master certified coach is 2,500 hours. There are researchers that have been researching and studying AI coaching for the last 8 years. The first AI coach was Eliza, 1970. So it's been around for a while. It's just emerged now with OpenAI and what have you. The researchers would take a cohort of 150 people or whatever the number is, and they'd have a human coach over here and they'd have an AI coach over there. And they would let both AI coach and human coach. And it was determined that the AI coach can coach effectively at the level of a human coach with 500 hours of coaching. Let that sink in. That's crazy. But there's levels of coaching. Transactional coaching. I want to stop smoking. I want to lose weight. I want to run faster. I want to be more efficient when I take notes in of my team meetings. Those are transactional things. Those are the transactional things that AI is very good at. When you get to 500 hours of coaching, you are supposed to be really good at transformational coaching. As a leader, I was given this job 3 years ago. I fell into it. The first year was a struggle. I've learned so much, but I want to become an exceptional leader. And I know in the AI world that we live in the crazy VUCA world where there's volatility, complexity, and uncertainty all around us, I know that I have to be coherent. My inner compass that guides me, my values, my virtues, my belief system needs to be stronger to navigate this wild and crazy world. And I want to do that for the people that I lead in the company that I lead. That's transformation. That's not just saying I want to lose weight. AI can help you with that. But transforming yourself is where the coach holds space, ask those open-ended questions. You talk about what it is you're trying to accomplish, and you really talk yourself into what's required that you'll have to have happen to achieve that goal that you want. It's interesting to think that the International Coach Federation and EMCC, other federations in Europe, that all have provided guidance to coaches. Up until about 18 months ago, coaches could not and were not trained to be directive. In other words, I might know the answer to the problem that you're trying to solve. As a coach, it's not my responsibility to give you the answer. We hold space for the coachee to find the answer on their own. AI, humans trained AI to be a coach. AI on its own accord decided it was going to be directive because AI has this vast knowledge about so many things that it will stop the session. It won't stop the session. In the middle of the coaching session, AI will say, well, you know, Arthur, what other people have done in the situation that you're in is X, Y, and Z. That's not coaching. That's what a mentor does. So because AI had begun doing that, human coaches have now, and the associations that certify those human coaches have now said it's okay for human coaches to be directive because we're now doing what AI has begun doing. So that's an interesting point because, you know, it's the cart before the horse. What I just said was AI and its behavior changed the behavior of human coaches and the associations that validate them. So what that means is that if we're not keeping our eye on what's happening in the AI world with all those tools that do different things, whether it's coaching or therapy or microbiology, if we're not keeping up with what's happening with AI in our industry, we're not a constant and consistent learner. And as fast as things come at us, you don't want to miss that boat and try to play catch up because things are moving too fast to catch up. It's like the train coming through the station. You know, when I lived in New Jersey, Pennsylvania Railroad or Amtrak, you know, I couldn't catch a train if it was leaving the station. But now AI is moving like a bullet train, which we don't have in America. We only see them in France and Japan. That's the speed at which things are changing. ICF has been around since 1995. It's the governing body for certified coaches in the US and global, but mainly here in the US. They changed their core competencies for coaches because AI demonstrated a skill that worked for the coachees that were being coached by AI. So humans changed. That's one of the effects of AI coaching on human coaches.
Okay. So, you know, this quote, and it's fitting that your name is Art because, you know, I'm familiar with the quote, art imitates life and life imitates art.
Yeah.
And now you could put AI in that space because.
Yeah, we can.
So it's you know, interesting times. So now, you know, we got a question that I'm going to add to because I think this is a question that people have about coaching in general. So he's asking, how can we measure the ROI of using an AI coach? But I think we should also start with how can we measure ROI of even just having a coach?
Well, I think that's an interesting question, and it's the answer is easier. 3 years ago, there's a coach platform that Merck in New Jersey had 1,000 seats of it.
Whoa.
So 1,000 people in cubicles were using an AI coach 3 years ago. If I bought one seat, it was $9 a month. That's less than $120 a year. That will get you a half hour of an executive coach. One seat at Merck, under $120, they had it 24/7 for a year. Panasonic had 10,000 seats. I think KPMG had many thousands of seats 3 years ago, paying those kind of prices. So ROI, AI out ROIs. If you're trying to do transaction, I mean, KPMG used it internally because they wanted to use it to help the employees be more resilient, because they're doing digital transformation for big companies, and often walking into a big company where you're slipping and you're not delivering on time, that company who's paying for your services is going to chew your head off. So you go to AI in your cubicle on the computer and say, I've got a tough conversation with this customer today. Here's where we are. Here's what's going on. The AI says, well, Art, here are two ways to do it. You can talk about motivation. You can talk about process. Which do you want to present to them? I work with the AI, and I go into that meeting and I have a plan. Ultimately, KPMG wanted to give the same technology to the client to have the same kind of coaches. I'm having a meeting with my service provider today, and they asked me to get my VP into the meeting, and I can't. She doesn't want to come to the meeting. How do I tell my service provider that we're paying a lot of money that they asked and I can't provide? So it goes both ways. And at $9 a month for one seat, so let's hypothesize that it's probably $5 a seat. So it's $60 a year to have a coach in your cubicle or on your mobile device, your phone, 24/7, 365 days a year. Coaches customarily coach you every 2 weeks, and they charge you $250, give or take a few bucks, up to $400, down to $150. That's the landscape that we're in. And therein lies both the opportunity and the challenge.
Okay.
The marketplace is telling us your AI coach technology makes coaching available to people on the loading dock, people in cubicles that never had a coach, because HR would be the vehicle that would call coaches and say, listen, you're a certified coach from ICF or EMCC. Can you come in and talk to somebody from our C-suite, C-level executives, maybe director and above? If you were in a cubicle, you might get coached by your manager, but that wasn't coaching. That wasn't ICF coaching. That was just, we're having a conversation, and I'm mimicking what I think coaching is, because they're not trained to coach. They don't do it every day. They're worried about that quarterly number they've got to make. So when you have an AI coach at pennies a day, you've democratized coaching. And if you're trying to build the corporate culture where people are seen, heard, understood, and respected, and I give you a coach, and you can take it home and on your mobile device and talk to it whenever you want to, you feel seen, you feel heard and understood. The challenge in some of these technologies is that that company that was placing these things in tens of thousands in big corporations, I was talking to them the founder one day, and I said, with that many seats in a big company like that, and all those conversations going in, it's like you're doing a 360 survey, and you've got so much data. Are you thinking of turning that into monetizing that? I said, no, we're not going to monetize it, but our customers sure want access to that data. And so if I am in my cubicle and saying, my boss is really giving me a bad time, coach, AI coach, how do I handle this? She's really dragging me through the glass. And that data is in the repository. So there's the conundrum. Yes, it's democratization of coaching. It makes it available to everyone from the loading dock to the C-suite. It's low cost, lower than it's ever been before in human history. But it also is a data harvesting machine. And that's where the ethics and the governance come in. And I use an AI coach that is built by founders in Germany. And for whatever reason, all of my friends that are AI savvy are in Germany. And I think they resonate with me because Germany about 80 years ago had a few problems with, you know what I mean? And so their governance in general, they're the part of the EU that's responsible for GDPR. GDPR is just you want my email address? You need to manage it this way and protect it from hackers. And if not, you're on the hook for deep penalties. The EU is far superior to the US in governance and protecting their citizenry. In the same way that we have Fruit Loops with red dye 25 and blue dye 36. We don't care. In Europe, they haven't had Fruit Loops with any color for decades. Yep. They just don't do it. So they treat AI in the same way. And Germany treats it another level in containment, so to speak. So when I use the AI platform that I'm building my AI coach on, that I can scale my own practice with, I am confident that they in Germany are going to protect my clients' data and do it in an ethical and with serious governance. After the US election last year, I was on a call with a bunch of people from the EU, all AI-centric people. And of course, they were ruminating about the US election, and some of them were like me, like, oh, no, you guys are so stupid. But a couple of the founders on that call said, I don't know about you guys. I don't know what you're whining about. I'm moving to the US because I'm a founder that they're going to lower the barriers to do whatever the hell I want to do to the floor. And we have. So if you're a founder, you're building in the US, it's the Wild West. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want because we want to win is the mindset. In the EU, it's a different point of view. And in Germany, it's really much more conservative. I vouch for and advocate for the governance because I don't want my data to be trained on and my story about my coaching session to be out there in the fabric of the World Wide Web.
Makes sense. So, okay. All right. So we got a couple more questions. Oh, but before we do that, just a couple things. Number one, anybody who has been listening in probably knows that we do events here in New Jersey for entrepreneurs and business owners. And we've got our final events of the year coming up. So our Masterpreneur Breakfast, formerly known as the Power Breakfast, is going to be on the 21st of November at the Park Avenue Club in Florham Park. So if you're able to join us, definitely going to be a great event. If you can't join us during the day, the night before, we have our Power Networking event. And that's going to be at Montclair Brewery. So that's going to be a great time and a way to, connect with other entrepreneurs and business owners. And if you're coming on Friday, it's an opportunity to build some momentum before you get there to the breakfast on Friday. So hopefully you can join us at each. If you've never been to the Power Breakfast, it's a great event. And this will just give you a quick video of what it's all about. If you are looking to increase revenues, improve profitability, and or obtain financing for your business, you need to check out the Power Breakfast and Small Business Pro conferences. My name is Andrew Frazier. One of the things we're here to do is supercharge your day.
Today's Power Breakfast has really been a phenomenal experience. I think it's exactly what business owners need, some true guidance of people who are genuine and really are leading them in the true direction of business growth and expansion.
The Power Breakfast is so important for the entrepreneurial community because it gives the various business people who come together an opportunity to interact and also do some business.
These events, hosted by Andrew Frazier, President and COO of Small Business Like a Pro, will supercharge your day.
All right, welcome back. I'm here with Art Jones talking small business. Our topic tonight is AI coaching, the promise, potential perils, and our opportunities for partnership. Welcome back, Art. Definitely want to continue to build on our conversation. And, definitely we've got some great comments and some questions in the chat. So keep them coming. Also, if you tuned in late, let us know where you're located. We've got people from, over the U.S., across the U.S., as well as internationally. So let us know where you're here from. So, another question for us is, right now, what's the biggest challenge with AI coaching?
Well, I think the biggest coaching is, the biggest opportunity is, I'll say it that way, because, in 2022, when OpenAI ended up on our shores, people were using it to write emails, create content calendars, write books, to do all kinds of content related things. But here, three plus years later, there are people that are asking AI, plan my vacation, tell me what to do with my teenage daughter, coach me on this. I'm really unhappy. I've had a bad breakup. I need some. They don't say I need therapy, but they have a therapeutic conversation. If the bar graph was here's where people were creating content in the past, and things like therapy and coaching were way down here in the bottom, people didn't know it was capable. Now content creations become kind of run of the mill, and we've peaked at coaching and therapy. And I mean, there are people that are trying to rein in states. Governors are saying, look, I know that AI can do therapy and we need more therapists, but we need more controls. So it's be curious is the way that a Thrive show says, but understand that AI coach technology is already being used to coach people. And it's not coach tech like the link that I just put into the chat. It's a legitimate AI coach that is built with governance and core competencies and code of ethics. ChatGPT will coach you. But if you don't pay for ChatGPT and haven't thrown the switch to say, don't train on my data, when you have those conversations, it's out there in the fabric of what's being trained on. And when I type your name in, I might get that private and personal and confidential conversation you have with ChatGPT. So you have to be curious about what the capabilities are, but you have to have an awareness of what the risks are as well. And I think Andrew and I were talking about this when we were in the green room, and I said, this topic is really important, AI coaching. But if we look at it broadly, AI in general, from AI robotics to biology to science and astronomy and coaching. It's very capable. It's doing some amazing things. Whatever industry you're in, if AI is touching you today, it's not so much to learn how to prompt, be a prompt engineer. There's a quote by Eric Fromm, and I captured it because I wanted to. It's Eric Hoffer, and he says, "Learners inherit the future. Learners inherit the future." And it's 5 years ago, mastery in something was what we would tell our children to do. Get mastery in something, ride that until retirement, live a good life. What I master today might not be relevant tomorrow. Why? Because AI is here. And Andrew and I have talked about my thesis of the work that I do. There's a process. I listen, build, tell, do, and become. Listen, build, and tell, I'll say for a different conversation. But doing and becoming. Doing is meeting my quarterly target, measuring my KPIs, writing my task list out on Sunday night and then nailing it on Monday morning and getting it done by noon. Those are doings. Those are task-oriented things. Those are things that AI does very well. If I'm a leader of my business, myself, my family, whatever, and I'm focused on learning how to become a better doer, mastering doing, do that. But don't ignore becoming. Becoming is, what do I need to invest in myself to become a better self that's going to thrive in the future 2026, 27, 28, 29. And learning how to learn is perhaps the most valuable skill that any of us can have. Because the thing I learned today, the prompt engineering I learned today, is going to be different tomorrow, because the AI of today is the worst AI we're ever going to use. And that's going to be true next month, 6 months from now, and on and on and on. So if we're not always learning and making the commitment to learn how to learn, we're at risk of missing the boat. That's my. You don't want to master something that's not going to be viable tomorrow.
Okay. Well, the one good thing about that, especially for small businesses, is you can learn so much faster and you can implement so much faster than larger organizations. The amount that I've learned in 1 year as an entrepreneur was probably equivalent to what I would learn in 5 years when I was working for someone else in a larger organization.
Yeah.
So learning's key. And I really like the becoming, because actually I created the Masterpreneur Playbook, and it was about it. Has the 5 steps in going from startup to scaling, but there's also 5 evolutions of you as a business owner, and you have to evolve and change over that time. I'll just put it up real quick. When you're in business, to go from startup to scaling, you start working on the concept, you work in your business, you work on your business, you work on the future, and then you work on scaling it. But when you're working on the concept of your business, you're really problem solving and focused on entrepreneurial type activities. When you're working in the business, you're really like an employer supervisor. So that's a different role. You have to be a different person. But to move your business to the next level and to work on your business, you really have to become a manager. You have to build a structure of supervisors, employees below you, but your role is totally different. What a supervisor does and a manager does is totally different. If you don't evolve into being the manager and developing those skills, your business isn't going to move forward. And that's where most businesses get stuck between step 2 and step 3. The next step, just as difficult, is going from manager to executive, where you go from managing and solving problems and continually improving things to coaching managers and developing strategies for the future and growing your business, and then finally becoming a full-fledged CEO, where you go from internal focus to really external focus. So it is a journey and it's an evolution. And, that those are key to successfully moving forward as a business owner and entrepreneur.
Can I build on that? And this is why my conversations with Andrew are always like 3 hours long, because he throws something out there and then it just provides an opportunity for me to build on it. And it's the link I put in the chat. That's my coach that I'm building. In that coach, you can learn about the narrative intelligence suite, the studio of products: narrative archaeology, narrative lens, narrative engine, and the narrative compass. That is built to help you know yourself, kind of like Socrates says, know thyself, right? Like Benjamin Franklin said, there's 3 things hard in the world: diamond, steel, and knowing yourself. The narrative studio helps you know yourself. Why is it important to know yourself? Because one of my German friends from 1453, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, have a great beard. I haven't been around that long now.
Okay.
He says, a man sees in the world what he carries in his heart. A person sees in the world what they carry in their heart. What the narrative intelligence studio is geared to help you do is to understand your virtues, your values, your principles, your beliefs, and your biases that you've gained throughout your life journey and your leadership journey. And that self-awareness is the first step to being socially aware, knowing others. That self-awareness is the first step to being empathetic and compassionate. It's important to have those skills. The second link in the second thing that's in that coach is you can learn what system thinking is and how I use system thinking to interrogate your own story. As Andrew was showing us the evolution of leadership and how you have to work in your business to work on your business and so forth. Each of those steps is a structure. And in system thinking, we say structure generates behavior. The structure of your life, the structure of your office, the structure of your behavior as a leader, as a manager, will generate the behavior you have as a manager. System thinking gives you a lens to look at those different parts of your life to make sense of it, so you can navigate that stair step that Andrew was just showing you with more insight and thoughtful steps for building structure that will generate the behavior that you desire.
Okay. Excellent. So, as you know, there's never enough time in the show, or even just when we're talking. So, we almost need another series because it's been a while. And the world has been changing a lot. What do you see for 2026? We're almost here at 2026. As a business owners, we're going to need to prepare, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the world. How do you see AI being most beneficial to us? And, what are some trends that you think we should be looking out for the coming year?
Can I turn that ask is legitimate, but answering it would be narrow.
Okay.
And I want to bring it back to share with your listening audience what I believe is commit to building a habit of lifelong learning.
Mm-hmm.
Dive into the Small Business Pro University. Check out that link that I put in the chat and learn what system thinking is. Learn how I use narrative intelligence. Learn what positive psychology is. That's PERMA. They're all lenses to know yourself better. If you don't know yourself, as we wade into 2026 and 7, the thing that AI doesn't do and won't do for the foreseeable future is have empathy and lived experience. If you're leading a team, any team, you can lead a team of agentic AI that's trying its best to be human. You'll need to know how to even make the AI be seen, heard, and understood. And those are human skills. So lifelong learning, keep your eye on what's happening in the world, the VUCA, the volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. When there's volatility, you need vision. When there's uncertainty, you need understanding. When there's complexity, you need clarity. And when there's ambiguity, you need agility. And lifelong learning covers all of that. Lifelong learning covers all of that, but pour into yourself first, because I think the World Economic Forum has a workforce of 2030. And up in the upper right-hand corner of the 4-quadrant matrix that they provide, there's understanding large language models, understanding GPTs, but understanding system thinking. That's why I've put it into my AI, because AI and the politics of the world and the economics of the world, those are systems that generate the behavior that I have to live in. I can fix that by understanding that, and I can navigate it better if I understand the systems that are at work. So lifelong learning, and stay curious, but don't find yourself drowning in a sea of trying to keep up with the next big thing that OpenAI or Anthropic or Claude or Gemini publishes. Make yourself and nurturing your human skills. So when you engage with people, your network, your network is your net worth. Make them feel seen, heard, understood, and respected. You'll earn their trust, and they'll lift you up when you need it, and they'll carry you forward when you ask for that favor. That's my advice for the future.
For the future. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I've got some interesting news to share. As we talked about earlier, one of our past guests and past Power Breakfast speakers is candidate for Lieutenant Governor in New Jersey. And they're the projected, along with Mikey Sherrill, and they're the projected winners. So, definitely congratulations.
That's great news.
Now I know big people in the state. So no, that's exciting news. Congratulations, Dale and Mikey, and
that's great news.
So
that's good to hear. I was worried for a minute when we were talking in the green room. I was like, no.
So definitely, he's very small business friendly and really supports entrepreneurship. So I'm looking forward to kind of some of the programming and things that they come back with. So excellent. So now, before I let you go, we always ask the guest to share 3 key takeaways from the conversation. I know you sort of sum things up in a nice way, but what are the 3 key things that people should take away and start working to implement next week? I'll give you a couple minutes to think about it.
Okay.
And I'm just going to play a video. We just, about a month ago, we launched our most recent book, 99 proven tips to accelerate your masterpreneur journey based on tips from the live streams. So I'll play a short video about that, and then after that, Art can share the top 3 things that we should take away from today. Sounds good. All right. Hi, Andrew here, and I'm excited to announce the launch of our new book, 99 Proven Tips to Accelerate Your Masterpreneur Journey. 5 years, 33 incredible guests, hundreds of powerful business lessons, and now it's all in one place. Introducing 99 Proven Tips to Accelerate Your Masterpreneur Journey, a brand new book built from the insights, wisdom, and strategies shared by the guest experts of our podcast, Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Inside, you'll discover actionable tips on how to launch smarter.
So if you have an idea that you have researched and you know who your customer is and you think that you've got the experience you need, now is a perfect time to start a business. But remember, start as a side hustle first.
Grow faster.
So sales is about problem solving, not about manipulating. You have to understand the math of your business, the sales math.
Lead more effectively.
You shouldn't expect someone to be you. You have to understand and create processes to basically train people on how to handle certain situations and basically set people on the right path, right? So they can become successful within your organization.
And scale your business with confidence.
Bet on yourself and not be afraid to take risks and to know that you have within you the ability to accomplish your dreams and accomplish your goals.
Think like an entrepreneur. Now, I know there may be many entrepreneurs listening, but there may be some who aren't entrepreneurs. It's all well and good. I'm here to say entrepreneurship is not just something you do, it's a way that you think. And the characteristics of an entrepreneur's thinking are creativity, resourcefulness, courage, resilience, and passion.
This isn't theory, it's practical advice straight from entrepreneurs and thought leaders who have done it. 5 years of conversations, 33 voices of experience, and now 99 tips to accelerate your masterpreneur journey. Get your copy today. Pre-order now to reserve your signed copy. Click the button below or scan the QR code to order from www.sbpro.com/99-tips. All right, welcome back. Andrew Frazier here with Art Jones, talking small business. Tonight's topic is AI coaching programs, their promise, potential perils, and partnership opportunities. So, Art, as we close out, what are 3 key things people should take away from what we discussed tonight?
AI can't be human. It's not human. That's our space. So in order to occupy that space, make it the foundation of everything you do going forward. And that just means know yourself, and build that foundation strongly. Knowing yourself doesn't just mean what we all think, just I know myself. Of course I know myself. It's about self-love, self-care, and being self-aware. Just know your narrative. Know whose shoulders you stand on to be here. Know what lessons they taught you to get here, and honor them by carrying that in that North Star that guides you. Because, the turbulence that we're experiencing today is not going to slow. It's going to get more. The waves are going to get higher, and the waters will be more rough than they are today. But having a strong foundation of values and beliefs that you can organically understand the narratives that gifted them to you is number 1. Number 2 is take a look at that link, any link that you can find, the one I put in the chat. Begin to understand systems thinking and what that really means. And it will give you a perspective, as we talked about the waves are going to be rough. Think of those waves as each of those waves as a system. And if you don't understand how that system creates the behavior that you're generating because of that system, when you understand it, you can change how you interact with that system and change your own behavior, or the behavior of your business, or the behavior of your team. Structure generates behavior is an important idea to get a grasp of as we enter that turbulent sea of AI. It's coming towards us. And lastly, always be learning, because what we learn today might be obsolete by tomorrow. So if you're always learning, you're going to stay on top of that learning heap. And those are my three: know yourself, understand your North Star, what you're made of. That's going to carry you and steal you through the rough times. And structure generates behavior. Find out what that means. Do a little research. And that structure, learning about structure generates behavior, is maybe the first block in your always be learning pyramid that you can build for yourself to help you navigate the future.
Okay. Well, powerful stuff. And definitely humanity. So, for the indefinite future, there's still going to be something that AI is not going to be able to do that we can do.
That's right.
So it's it's important to pivot and make sure you develop that part of yourself, and knowing yourself is really about developing yourself as a leader, and that's what the show's all about. That's what continuous learning is all about, and that's what it's going to take to be a successful business person. So thank you, Art, for taking time out of your busy schedule to come hang out and share your extensive knowledge and expertise. Of course, I always love talking to you because you bring a global perspective and a technology perspective that I'm always learning things.
Well, thanks for having me, and you always challenge me to think differently as we challenge each other, and I think that's where the growth curve comes from. There's no growth without struggle, and sometimes in our conversation you make me struggle for my belief system, and often you turn me left or right, and I think that's what we need is you are co-intelligence for me, right? You co-intelligence means that I work through some questions that I don't really have the solid answer to through our dialogue with you. You can use AI in the same way, but it's better when you have a human that you can relate to, that you trust the integrity that they bring and the honesty of the truth that they share. We always need that sounding board. So find that person that can be your Andrew the way I have that relationship with him, and helps me grow.
Definitely. Always, appreciate that. And, same for me. So, in the chat, we got Art's profile there. We also have his website, and we also have his AI coach. So definitely, you're welcome to reach out to him. Art's doing some great stuff. Definitely worth learning more about it. Thanks for sharing what you have so far, and hang out for a little bit, and as I close out the show. So definitely another great show. Appreciate everybody's comments and feedback and tuning in. Also, definitely appreciate Art sharing some great insights. Talking about AI on a global scale, and some key things to understand about Europe and how other people are using this tool, and some of the challenges and issues and concerns. So once again, thanks, Art, for sharing some valuable information. Looking forward to next week. We've got a great show coming up. We got Jerome Hutchinson, and we're going to talk about the relationship between revenue and relationships. Art mentioned that in some ways your network can lead to your net worth. So it's all about relationships. Your success in business and in life is about relationships. So Jerome has built a international organization of professionals, and is a master at relationships. So I look forward to talking to him and learning more from him when we talk next week. So hopefully you can join us. Also, don't forget, put it on your calendar. If you're in New Jersey, come join us at the Masterpreneur Breakfast, Friday, November 21st. And once a year, I actually talk at one of the events. So this event, I'm going to speak about the Masterpreneur journey and the Masterpreneur growth factors on how to scale your business. And then the night before, we have our Power Network event at Montclair Brewery. So join us for one, join us for both, and hopefully we'll see you then. And, at the end of the day, the more that you know, the faster and more successfully you're going to grow. Take care and have a good evening.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.